Alright everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel where I'm going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 16 from, a betting prediction standpoint. I'm going to be running through the whole card. I really like this card and I like the last three cards of the year. So that's why I'm going to actually get videos out for them. Well, we'll see how it goes, but I do want to get videos out for these days because 2020, I know it's been a bad year for the world and stuff and pandemic, but it's been my best every year for betting, and I've moved forward a level with betting in 2020. So I have big time made serious improvements, and I think everything has started to click this year. So I did YouTube videos for the first part of the year and throughout summer and stuff. Fed Island cards, stuff like that. 15 away contender series ones. And, I think I may as well round off the year by putting three more out for the last three cards, because if you just look at them, they're brilliant cards, so they are. So Figueiredo Moreno next week, pay-per-view, and then this crazy good Fight Night card, which is just nuts. So as I say, three really good cards, and ones where, just as a handicapper and stuff, you really get motivated if the card is good. You really get motivated to put in the tape and get the work done. Whereas if it's cards like last week, Devin Clarke and Anthony Smith type of cards, you're just like, you just want it over and done with, really. So enough of that. Just overviews of the last three cards. Actually have about 23 units, so I am, on the last three UFC cards. So as always say, if you're interested in becoming a member, fire me a DM across on Twitter, and we'll get that sorted for you. Also, this breakdown is post weigh-ins, so any things I notice about the weigh-ins, I'll add them in regarding the fights. So first fight, Gian Villante versus Jake Collier. What have I got to say about this fight? Just stay away from it. Two goats, you know what I mean? Just two guys that shouldn't be up at heavyweight, shouldn't be in the UFC, probably not. Gian Villante, probably him more so, as in he's probably a better fighter than Collier, now. But even still, he's not great, so he's not. Truth is, Gian Villante's never really been that good at all, so he hasn't. And he's up at heavyweight now, and he's he doesn't look in the best shape. But to be fair, he gave Mo Green a good fight in the last one, so he did. He dropped him and stuff. The fight was close, but he ends up, getting exhausted from trying to finish him, and ends up tapping from bottom, which was embarrassing. But Jake Collier, so he makes a 3-year return. Just in the summer of Fight Island, gets knocked out in under 60 seconds by Tom Aspinall, who I tipped the members. I tipped Aspinall by KO. It was plus 110, so it was, when I got it, because I noticed Collier's, his physique was just embarrassing. He showed up to the weigh-ins with with his shirt on, getting weighed in on the scale, which basically told you all you had to know really about that one. He was completely out of shape, and to be fair, for this fight, he has trimmed down a wee bit. So he has, just looking at the weigh-ins there a few hours ago, he has trimmed down a wee bit, but still he's way too big than he should be. He's not exactly in prime physical, peak condition, so he's not, which is never a good sign. So my opinion is, with this fight, just stay away in terms of betting. But if I'm gonna, give a prediction, it's gonna be as Jan Vellante, probably by TKO to be honest, but I'm not sure, so I don't know, because it is two flaky guys and just a really bad fight, so it is, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch, so keep your eyes on it. It's going to be entertainment, but obviously from betting perspective, just stay away completely. So next fight, Ilia Topuria versus Damon Jackson, which is a great fight here between UFC vet and Damon Jackson and up and coming prospect and Ilia Topuria, who I actually highly regard, so I do, especially after his last performance against Zalal. Now I actually thought Zalal was going to win that fight, but I did know how good Topuria was. I just thought Zalal could get his movement going and trouble Topuria, with his striking in and out movement and flying knees and stuff like that. But Topuria just really shut him down, so he did. He just worked his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu game, and just took the fight from Zalal. But in round 3, he did Topuria. But I don't think that will be as big as an issue for this one, because Topuria was coming in on 2 weeks' notice for that fight against Zalal, and then now he has a full training camp behind him. So I'm excited to see him with a full training camp behind him, as I said on Twitter. But Damon Jackson is a tough fight, to be honest. It's a good fight for him stylistically, in that it's a grappler who, not the best wrestling, but he's durable, and he's hard to put away, and he doesn't slow down. We've seen that in the Mirsad Bektic fight. Damon Jackson comes in on, like a week's notice, and ends up submitting in a come from behind win against Mirsad Bektic. He submits him in the 3rd round. Basically, he just rode out the first 2 rounds. Yes, he got dominated. He did, especially on the ground. While he was on bottom, he was just getting worked by Bektic, but he survived it and he came out the better side of it, because Bektic really slowed down at the start of round 3 and he was just exhausted, and Damon Jackson just cinched up a guillotine, ends up tapping him out. Fair play to him. The guy's not a quitter. If you're gonna be betting him, he's gonna really fight for your money. But I just think it's a hard style matchup for him, this one. I really do rate Topuria and expect big things from him in the UFC. I think he can go out here and hit takedowns. And yes, he may get tired in round 3, but is it enough for him to be 10-8 rounded or finished? I don't think so. From tape, we know that Topuria is tough. Very tough guy. He's not going to be submitted. And he has shown a really good chin so far. So, Damon Jackson has to rely on getting a finish in round 3 or a 10-8 round. I just can't see it. So, Topuria by decision there, I'm going to say. So, Jimmy Flick, who was on Contender Series and who I bet on Contender Series, a tip to members just during the summer. What month was that actually? Or September that was. So 1st of September. Jimmy Flick. Actually, gonna change the Topuria pick. I'll pick him by sub, so because that's what I have written down for the full card predictions. So Ilia Topuria by sub over Damon Jackson. Now just continuing on with this fight. As I say, I bet Jimmy Flick in the last fight. I thought Nate Smith was a good opportunity for him. I did think that Flick just had a massive advantage on the ground and over Nate Smith, who doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu, so he doesn't. And, Jimmy Flick just really went out there and he put it on. Nate Smith, he hit takedowns and he just dominated on the ground, so he did. And he, across 3 rounds, Jimmy Flick doesn't really get tired if he's grappling, and especially if he's on top, because that's his realm, that's his world. That's where his cardio shines, is in the grappling scene. But Cody Durden, hard to get that guy down, in my opinion. NCAA 2 times college, or 2 times state high school wrestling champion. It's going to be hard to get this guy down. So it is. He's training at ATT Atlanta. So he is. And, he has some losses from 2 years ago and stuff. But to me, Cody Durden, he is making big improvements. So he is, you can tell. He took Chris Gutierrez to a draw in his last fight. He came in on short notice. Luke Sanders was meant to fight Gutierrez, not one. Cody Durden came in like 2 weeks' notice and just first round he won 10-8. He took Gutierrez down, had his back. He couldn't submit him, but it was enough to warrant a 10-8 round. And he looked good in that fight while he was fresh, and then he did slow down. He couldn't get Gutierrez down post round 1 because he sapped the energy. He went for the finish and he couldn't get it. Gutierrez is durable as they come. Gutierrez just survived it and then ended up taking the next 2 rounds 10-9. And in that fight, I actually tipped the members. It was midway point through round 2 that I tipped draw, 25-1. And it ended up getting up. So that was probably my best bet of 2020. So it was brilliant. Like, it's very rare that you get draw, live bets, and that was one where it just looked to me like Cody Durden had emptied the tank a wee bit, and he was slowing down. And I know how good Gutierrez is, and training at elevation and stuff. I just knew that Gutierrez was going to outlast him, and he did. He outstriked him, and then obviously it ended up a draw through 2 10-9 rounds in round 2 and 3. So that was good work, that last fight. But it'll be interesting to see Cody Durden's game plan for this one. It's the only thing that's making me hesitant to bet the guy, is that I don't know which way he's going to approach this fight. I don't think he should be looking for takedowns at all. So I don't think he should, even if Jimmy Flick is underneath him, Jimmy Flick is an opportunistic grappler. So any, space you give him, he's going to cinch up a triangle, cinch up a leg lock, anything, heel hook, armbar, he's just going to go for it. And Jimmy Flick just has a whole variety of submissions, so very accomplished jiu-jitsu artist is Jimmy Flick. I don't think you want to be taking this guy down at all. Even if you're Cody Durden, 2-time high state wrestling champion, whatever, keep it on the feet. Jimmy Flick has been prone to getting caught in the feet, and he does have a wee bit of a, I don't know if it's a weak chin. He is chinny a bit, but I think it's more so that when the going gets tough for Jimmy Flick and he starts to get it put on him, he just wilts, in my opinion. We've seen that in the Nate Robinson fight, which is just a brutal KO loss. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. But that was up at bantamweight, and all of Jimmy Flick's losses are, all of Jimmy Flick's losses after 2012 are a bantamweight up at his, not natural weight class against bigger fighters, and that's where he's lost. So he's unbeaten at flyweight since 2012, since he got beat by Will Cupizano. So obviously, flyweight is his natural weight class. It's going to be interesting, as I say, to see how Cody Durden really approaches this fight. He should get Jimmy Flick down. So he should, he should keep his feet on the feet. I meant to say he should not take Jimmy Flick down. So the game plan for me, Cody Durden, work a stand-up game, really try and test the chin of Jimmy Flick, and just get in his face, be hyper aggressive, and just go for the knockout, in my opinion. Because if you take Jimmy Flick down, you're just giving him opportunities to win the fight. So you are. So I don't think that's the move. Cody Durden, stand up for me. It is improving, but if you watch his fights, somehow, even if he is winning on the feet, he always shoots a takedown, which is a wee bit annoying for me, and it's the only thing stopping me from betting him, is that even if he is, doing well on the feet, there's always a takedown. And see if he has that option, limited. I'd like to see how his stand-up goes if he doesn't have the threat of a takedown. And if he can't, shoot it and mix up his striking with takedowns and stuff, because it's just not smart to take Jimmy Flick down. It's like the Ben Askren and Damian Maia thing. Obviously, Jimmy Flick isn't the BJJ level of Ben Askren, but Ben Askren's only half the victory in that fight, you think, was to wrestle and take Maia down, but at the same time it wasn't at all. That was just a stupid move, because who just took Damian Maia down and stayed on top of him and just really worked their game over Damian Maia's jiu-jitsu game? No one, apart from Jake Shields years ago. But that's topic for another day. So Cody Durden should look to keep his fight in the feet and try and knock out Jimmy Flick. Whether he does or not remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. But if I'm going to pick a fighter here, it's going to be Cody Durden by TKO, we'll say. But it's hard to say, so it is. I don't know, because who knows how Cody Durden's going to take this fight, where he's going to take it and stuff. But so next up, Jordan Levitt versus Matt Wehman. Jordan Levitt, I also bet him in the Contender Series. I want to say I was the same. No, it wasn't actually. It was Jacoby and stuff. So that was a good card. So we bet Jordan Levitt at -110. I was picking by then, so it was over Luke Flores. And Jordan Levitt is a specialist, but he's very good on the ground, so he is. And he's one of those guys that if he wants to fight on the ground, as he always does, he's going to really go for the takedown and be relentless with it, which I like in a fighter. But at the same time, you can't just be very, very, one aspect of MMA. You can't be a one-trick pony anymore, which I think he is, but I don't think it's going to cause him trouble in this fight, to be honest. Do you think Jordan Levitt subs Matt Wehman? No, probably not. Because Matt Wehman is jiu-jitsu black belt. He's never been submitted. He's fought in UFC since 2006. Fought some really high-level guys back in the day, and he's never been submitted, so I can't see him being submitted here. Maybe Jordan Levitt could finish Matt Wehman by TKO, elbows from ground and pound, maybe from full guard or stuff. But he doesn't even have a TKO winners record. So he doesn't, Jordan Levitt, not even in his amateur days. So Jordan Levitt by decision I've got there. I'm not in love with the odds, obviously not, but I think there is some plays he can make for his fight. So there is, in my opinion. Up next, we've got Luis Smolka versus Jose Alberto Quinones. Now, this fight was meant to happen about 2 weeks ago. So it was. What card was that? Is it going to tell me? Oh, the Santos Felder one. Aye. So it was meant to happen then, and then Smolka, weight cut issues, I mean, the guy's a joke in my opinion. He missed weight. I don't know how many times, 3 or 4 times of flyweight, and then he goes up to bantamweight, and I think he's missed it twice. It's just, it's, I don't know. I know the guy has battled alcoholism and stuff, and I think he was saying he's in a dark place, which, I commend him for. Fair play to him for being open and speaking about it, but you can't be a professional fighter and just constantly, especially at the UFC, the highest level of the sport, you can't be missing weight all the time. It's not a good look. It's the same with the Ray Borg thing. You've got to question the professionalism, the motivation. Is their head in the game? But saying that, Smoke is a talented guy, so he is very good in the ground. His durability has suffered in recent years, in my opinion. We've seen that in the Casey Canny fight and stuff, where he get rocked and then he get choked out in the first round. Matt Snell finished him last year. I can't remember if I want to say he hurt him on the feet. I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched that fight in a long time, but because I did tape for this fight about 3 weeks ago it would have been, so my memory's sort of hazy on it, but my conclusion from that fight was that basically I like Quinones in this one, so I did. I thought that his upside currently probably is higher than Louis Smolka's. Louis Smolka's only 29, but he feels like he's a lot older. He's been in the game a long time. Whether he's past his prime or not, not in terms of physically, but mentally. He's had a lot of hardships in and out of the octagon. As I say, skill-wise, the guy is talented, so he is. If he gets on top of you, you're in trouble, so you are. Big time. And especially if he gets it back. But saying that, I just think that Quinones is the more hungry fighter, the more... He's not... I wouldn't say he's more proven, but I can see him possibly preventing takedowns and then just working his stand-up. Now, his stand-up, in my opinion, is better than Louis Smolka's, so it is. I know he got absolutely ran over by Sean O'Malley. But if you go back and watch Nathaniel Wood fight the Teruto Ishihara, he's not in the UFC anymore, but he's good kickboxer, so he is. He's very powerful guy on the feet, so he managed to come off the better side of that and get a decision victory over him. The guy's mostly a boxer, so he's long. He only has 69-inch reach, which I'm surprised about, but it's half an inch longer than Louis Smolka, so it is. But as I say here, especially with the odds, I just like Louis Smolka, so I do. Or I just like Quinones over Louis Smolka here, so I do. Especially with Quinones being a... What is he now? What is this? Have they moved around the order of this fight card? I've best fight out, it's got it wrong. Right, so they have it at the start here for some reason, but Quinones is about... So money's actually coming in on him. He was plus 120 yesterday. I think here over in Ireland you can still get him... so he's still plus 120 at some places. Plus 125 5 times. In terms of here, Irish or UK books, where is it? No, so plus 120 is best price, Sky Bet. I just have to give the edge to Quinones, so I do. I just think he has more upside. I think his head's probably in the game more than Louis Smolka's, and I just don't like the repeated weight misses and just the whole the whole thing around Lee Smoke at the minute, I just think he's not right there. Maybe he's got one foot in, one foot out. I don't know, but his head isn't in the game as much as it should be, for as much talent as the guy's got on his day, Lee Smoker. And saying that as well, like, he came into the UFC in 2014. Lee Smoker came into the UFC, and I remember the consensus was that this guy's going to be a top 5 guy, so he is. That's what the consensus around Lee Smoker was, but he never really improved, in my opinion. His game hasn't improved that much. You would think that he would, as a jiu-jitsu guy, he would really work on his wrestling and his takedowns, but I just haven't seen that, to be honest. I mean, there still is some. He's still only 30. Like, there's still some years left in the tank yet, but I have to give it to Canona, so they have to. So I've got Canona by decision there. So up next, Movsar Evloev versus Nate Landwehr. So Nate the Train, former N1 Global bantamweight champion, or featherweight. Featherweight, I'm pretty sure. Let me check. Pretty sure it was featherweight. I was. So the thing is around this fight was that, so Nate Landwehr, accomplished guy over in M1, the Russian MMA circuit, one of the best circuits outside, or probably one of the best circuits in Europe. So it is for MMA in general, and skilled fighters. So he was featherweight champion over there. And the thing is about this fight, why UFC have put it together, is that Evloev was, so he was always #1 contender to Nate the Train Landwehr, while Nate Landwehr was M1 featherweight champion. Evloev was, he was the #1 contender, but the fight never materialized. They used to go back and forth. They still go back and forth. Even, there's plenty of animosity in this fight leading up to it, stuff over Twitter. The fight never materialized in M1. UFC came knocking for both Nate the Train and Evloev. So good history behind this fight. I like when UFC puts these kind of, lower MMA fights, together. So it's a good matchup. Evloev, he is -600 favourite for a reason. -650 now. Now it's too wide now. In my opinion, it's too wide, but I'm not going to bet Nate Landwehr, so I'm not. While I think Landwehr's good, he's wild. He's wild in the octagon, but I just think that Evloev can mix it up better and take Nate Landwehr down and, get a decision victory. And, he can work a stand-up as well. So Evloev is the pick here. Value's obviously on Landwehr, but, I'm not out here rushing to bet him. If you're one of these guys that likes to, always put money on where you think there's value, you would have to put money on Landwehr, wouldn't you? But I'm not going to, because it's not really my style. I like to pick winners, and don't really have a problem with paying chalk. So I like to have winning bets and money in strong positions. But if you're one of the guys who always looks for value, Landwehr, what is he now? Probably plus 400. Let me check. Plus 500, so 5-1. So I mean, it wouldn't hurt to put money on Landwehr. I would say if you're one of these value guys. But Evloev by decision, I've got, just for a pick perspective. And it'll be a good fight. I'm looking forward to it. So Roman Delidsey versus John Allen. Now, I actually like Roman Delidsey, so do. And I can see why there's level of hype behind him. So he's a grappler by trade. He only started his MMA journey, his MMA career in 2016. Now, he didn't have any amateur fights before that. According to Topology and articles I've read, he just went straight in to... Now, he might have had a few smokers in the gym, you know. Smokers are different. They're amateur fights, but they're not like promoted events or whatever, you know. So he might have had a few of those, but as far as I know, he just went into his professional career. He was what was he, what's that fucking jiu-jitsu, the name will come to me, but I have to search that up. 1 second. Don't know why I'm blanking on that name. So he's accomplished in jiu-jitsu. There it is. Don't know why that went down in my head there, but he's ADC Asia and Oceania champion. So ADCC is a mixture of the grappling arts, so judo, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, all that type of stuff. And Roman Delidsey won gold there for Asia and Oceania. Not sure what year that was. It was before 2016, I want to say. Because I remember reading article on Delidsey before he came to UFC and stuff, and just seeing what his whole deal was. So he is a grappler by trade, but he's a guy that likes to try and put people away on the feet, because he does have, as far as I've seen, he has bricks in his hands. He just always manages to connect on these guys, and when it happens a lot, to me it isn't no fluke. Like, even if a guy's technique is not good, but he's putting away these high level guys all the time. For example, Francis Ngannou, there's something there. It's just not luck or just by chance. It is for a reason. He has something there. He has bricks in his hands, as I say. So Delidsey probably does want to take us to the ground though, so he doesn't work his jiu-jitsu game. Because if we have seen a hole in John Allen's game, it's in the jiu-jitsu department, especially when he is taken down and someone's on top of him. We've seen that with Vinicius Moreira in Dana White Contender Series Brazil in 2018. He just looked like a fish out of water. Although Moreira is very accomplished in jiu-jitsu, it just wasn't a good sign, that fight for John Allen. And even when you watch it back now, you're just thinking like, whoa, this isn't great at all. He didn't there was points where he wasn't even trying to get half guard back. He wasn't even trying to retain full guard, really. He was just getting mauled, so he was, by Vinicius Moreira. And to be honest, it's hard to say whether Delidsey gets John Allen down. I'm not sure, because I've not seen enough wrestling from Delidsey to warrant that. Because in the one fight that he did try to wrestle the guy, I think it was, I can't remember which it was either D'Souza or Pasternak. I think it was Pasternak, the Polish guy. Yeah, I think it was him. He was trying to hit takedowns to Delidsey, and he was getting them stuff, and they weren't high amplitude takedowns or nothing. They weren't double legs, or they weren't explosive double legs. It was just like very unconvincing shots from out in the open to get easy stuff. So maybe John Allen can stuff takedowns and work a stand-up game, because while Delidsey has the power advantage, I would say overall John Allen probably has the Muay Thai and boxing advantage, because John Allen is good on the feet. Like, he might not be the best mixed martial artist in the world at 205, but he's good on the feet, and he will give you a hard fight in the feet. We've seen that in the Mike Rodriguez fight. John Allen won the decision over him before it got overturned in his last fight. Just over a year ago, so a year and 5 months that was, over Mike Rodriguez. So, the guy's good on the feet, but he does have a hole in regards to the jiu-jitsu and grappling department. Whether Delidsey can get it down or not, I don't know. But Delidsey, to me, he should be favourite. I would say minus 150 is fair, which I was considering playing him at minus 150, but not at minus 200, no way. And then I just had some, even when he was minus 150, I had like a bad feeling about it. So at minus 200, I'm not going anywhere near. But saying that, if I'm going to pick someone to win, it's going to be Delidsey. Probably by sub. Now you can get Delidsey by sub plus 800, so 8-1, which is a bit of a mad line because John Allen's never been knocked out, I want to say, I believe. And like 4 out of 5 of his losses came by sub, so interesting prop there. And I will pick Delidsey by sub just for a prediction. So next up, Talia Santos versus Montala de la Rosa. Now Talia Santos, awful fight against Mira Barella. Bit of a tongue twister, that one. Mira Romero Barella, the Italian girl that is no longer with the UFC, I want to say. So she's lost 4 in a row. Not the best fighter, and Talia Santos lost a decision victory to her, or decision to her, and in hindsight, after the fact with that fight, I want to believe Talia Santos' version of events for that fight. She said she was like in the back, like could barely, like even for holding pads or even for hitting pads, she could barely make a fist because she was that nervous. And she was just, and she was saying like something to the regard of she was in the back almost about to throw up, and she was trying to hit pads with her coach, and she could barely make a fist, and it was just all big of like a sort of like a nightmare to her, which I sort of believe, because in rounds 1 and 2 you really see Talia Santos, she doesn't look great. You can tell she has a Muay Thai background, she has a stand-up background, but she really just doesn't let her hands go or feet go, doesn't let her kicks go, doesn't let anything go. She just accepts grappling transitions against Mira Romero Barella and ends up getting taken down and stuff in the first 2 rounds. And then you see in round 3 her jitters have kind of gone away, and she starts to let her strikes go, and then you're like, whoa, so this is the fighter we were expecting now, who we seen on Contender Series, who we and then after that we seen against Molly McCann really just put together all round brilliant performance against Molly McCann, especially on the feet. Molly McCann had nothing for her on the feet. Talia Santos had a really good tape up the middle and really good 1-2, very strong, physically imposing for 125. So I don't think Montana De La Rosa can take Talia Santos down. I think Talia Santos will see the same one that we've seen in the Molly McCann fight, and she just works Montana De La Rosa on the feet. And I think she just, from minute 1 to minute 15, I just think she beats her. Yeah, so they, in a pretty convincing decision victory for Talia Santos. I can just see her working her stand-up game and getting the better of Montana De La Rosa, who, while she's good at jiu-jitsu, her wrestling, to me, it's just lackluster. So Santos by decision. We rarely see him go up high with it, but it's just so fast to the body. Rear kick across the body of an orthodox fighter just is brutal. Like, and then if he's also fighting an orthodox fighter, he just inside leg kick from back foot, from southpaw to an orthodox fighter, just really slaps that at upper leg of, his opponent, and you can just tell this guy kicks hard, so you can. His kicks are mean. He has decent boxing. If you go back and watch Sadiq Yusuff fight, who I'm very high on, Benitez drops him on the feet in round 1, so he does, with a punch, and yes, he does go on to lose that fight, but Yusuff is a dog. Yusuff is very good, so he is, especially on the feet, and it just proves to the level fighter Mowgli is. He's good. Like, he's good on the feet. It proves to his stand-up skills that he's coming out here and dropping guys like Sadiq Yusuff. He's really taken Omar Morales to hard-fought decision victories, even though I did bet Morales in that fight, and I tipped in the members. I got him at minus 160. Morales in that one, and cashed the winning ticket there. But at the same time, Benitez did, he did impress me in that one. He's very durable, so he is hard to put away, really hard-nosed guy. But the same can be said for Justin James. I don't know about, Justin James. I wouldn't say he's as technical as Mowgli, but he's a real powerhouse on the feet. So he is. His fight's at 155, so it is. It was originally put up on Topology as 145, but it's not. It's 155. Now, Justin James, his last fight was at 145. I don't like the guy at 145. Yes, he's a smaller guy in terms of height, but he is very wide and he's very filled out. So we can't have him killing himself to make 145, especially if I was his coach. That would be what I'm saying, Just let this guy, decent cut, 155, just let him flourish up there instead of killing himself, before the fight, before going into the octagon against a, train killer, and, killing himself before the fight. You don't want that. I think the guy's fought, I want to say, let me see. I was pretty sure the guy fought as high as so he fought at welterweight. I knew he fought at welterweight, just from taping the guy before. He's a big guy, so he is. It's weird. He fights a welterweight fight, and then the next fight, 4 months later, he fights a catchweight at 149. It's just strange, but I'm pretty sure I watched this here welterweight fight, and he's fighting a big guy, and he's taking him down and stuff. And he's just, he's not being out-muscled by a welterweight, so he's not. So it just goes to show how strong this guy is. And, he's just powerful. But saying that, he is powerful while he lasts. Well, I put it up on Twitter. Some of you might have seen, Justin James is round 1 or bust, in my opinion. So he comes out strong in round 1. He looks to put people away with his strikes. We've seen that in the Frank Camacho fight. He comes in on short notice up at 155 against Camacho, a former welterweight, and knocks him out in under 40 or under 60 seconds. And, most of his wins are by TKO in round 1. And if he goes past that, that's where the problems arise. Because if you do tape on this guy, especially, if you watch his most recent fight, just a couple of months ago against Gavin Tucker, Justin James, he starts strong, but if you wear him down, he will fade, and he'll be a shadow of the fighter he was. So I don't like different back gassers, and, Justin James, in my opinion, he gasses, but for a reason, he does come out hard. It is his game plan just to come out there and just try and kill these fighters in round 1. He's killer be killed, Justin James. But to me, Mowgli is too hard to put away quick. He's too durable. Yes, Sadiq Yusuff did it, but Mowgli's tough, so he is. He's one of these, Latin American. Where's he from? Pretty sure Mexico. He's one of these Mexican fighters who's just durable as hell. good cardio, always in the fight. So Justin James, he's going to have trouble putting him away. And as we know historically, the guys round one are bust. So I'm not surprised that money has came in on, Mowgli, who's down to minus 240 now. And he did open at plus 110, on bet online, the opener. So fair enough if you got on that. That's a good bet in my opinion. But wouldn't be touching him anywhere near minus 240, no chance. But I'll go with Mowgli here, so I will. Let me check. I'll say by decision, so I will. Because Justin James, he does have a chin on him. But as I say, he does gas, so I can just see Mowgli taking over as the fight progresses in the round 2 and 3 and getting the decision victory. So OSP versus Jamal Hill. Now, before Jamal Hill came on to the UFC scene and stuff, like from his Contender Series fight, after that I was sort of skeptical to what his skill level is. I wasn't really sold on him that much, but now we've seen him, what he's really like. We've seen his true skills, his true potential, and he is a great fighter. Now he doesn't have the most knockout power, so he's a very volume heavy guy. He just gets in your face and just straight 1-2s. Southpaw, so he is. So his 1-2s is money shot. Straight left hands down the middle. That's his whole game. Incorporates a few kicks, tapes, but for the most part, getting in your face and using his length is his game. And we have seen OSP struggle with that type of fight before. So we have, Ben Rathwell brought that type of fight. I know it was up at heavyweight against a much bigger guy, but what was I gonna say? Oh yes, I have seen OSP struggle with Southpaw before, who fights similar to Jamal Hill in that Dominic Reyes is, he's a movement guy on the feet who very good left hand and very good movement, very quick on the feet, light in the feet, doesn't move like a 205er. And caused OSP like a lot of problems. So he did, and that's the whole entire game of Jamal Hill. So now, one area where OSP does have an advantage in this one is grappling, obviously. If he gets on top or if he is underneath from Von Flue position, he does have a grappling advantage, especially in regard to submission grappling, in my opinion anyway. But from what we've seen of Jamal Hill, the guy can get up from getting taken down, no problem. He does have good wrestling get up game. We've seen that in the Darko Stojic fight. Yes, he did give up takedowns, but it was only a matter of time before he got back up. And OSP isn't the athletic wrestler that Stojic is. We haven't seen OSP, shoot a takedown in a long while, I want to say. Just like a double leg from out in the open. I haven't seen it. And that may be due in part to OSP aging a bit and losing that athleticism. That, really opens the door for double leg takedowns and stuff. So I can just see Jamal Hill piecing OSP up on the feet here, really using his length. We know OSP struggles against southpaws, and can't see OSP taking Jamal Hill down. So we'll have to give it to the fighter who is much younger fighter, better fighter on the feet, much quicker fighter, and to get the decision victory, I'll say, over OSP. Just by piecing them up for 15 minutes, fat straight left hand and movement and the whole shebang. So Jamal Hill by decision, I'll say her. Now moving on, Marvin Vettori versus Jack Hermansen. Now Marvin Vettori is a fighter I like. I've always liked him. because you know, even before I got really into the sports betting game and MMA handicapping, Vettori was always a guy that stood out to me because pretty sure he's the only Italian fighter we've seen in, you know, modern UFC. Well, he's the only modern Italian fighter in the UFC who's going on the headline of card, so he is. And it always stuck out to me because I was unsure because usually these guys that come up on the Italian circuit, they're not very good, to be honest. But Vittori, you know, he's like the outlier in my opinion, so he is very good. Actually, another Italian, Carlo Pedersoli, he was before Vittori, I want to say, so I was wrong there, but Vittori is the first Italian headliner on a UFC event, so there's that. But, you know, as I say, Vittori always stood out to me, just as an Italian, as a guy that come over from the European circuit. I didn't know how well he was going to do, and over the last few years, he's really put it together, so he has. His game's really coming along strong, and he's in his prime now. And, you know, he's just put everything together. In previous fights, we've seen him give up takedowns and stuff, but he's really worked that side of his game, so he has. In the Shoeface fight and the Mutanche fight, we've seen him give up takedowns, but he's covered that hole in his game, so he has. He's really worked on his takedown defense. So I can't see Joker getting him down, so I can't. And if you go back and watch Joker tape, he is a guy that struggles when people get in his face. He's a guy that struggles if you back him up and start unleashing your boxing combinations on him. If you get him behind the black lines, you can just see he's so uncomfortable, so you can't. Yes, he did beat Jacare, but Jacare was like a sitting duck in that fight. And Jacare is a guy that in 5-round fights, he is just too worried about energy conservation. He's way too worried. And that is why Joker, in my opinion, looked so good on the fight. Was because Jacare was just standing there. He wasn't really throwing much. He was just surviving. And he was just, you know, conserving his energy without really letting it go. And when he did let it go, Jacare, he really stormed Joker down. And Hermansen just really looked uncomfortable, so he did. Especially when he was getting backed up by Jacare, who was like landing bombs and stuff. I think it was the 4th round, I want to say. 4th or 3rd round. Jacare really, you know, I want to say it's the 3rd round, that fight. Jacare really brought it on, Joker. And, you know, Marvin Vettori's going to be doing that from the start in this fight. The only issue with Marvin Vittori is, for me, that he does slow down a bit. So he does. I wouldn't say gasses. Like, gassing is like McGregor versus Diaz, the first fight. That's gassing. But I would say slows down considerably. But see, even when he does slow down, he still wins rounds. Andrew Sanchez, he won that round. I want to say he won the Mutanche fight. Or sorry, the Mutanche 3rd round. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure he did. And then he won the 3rd round against Adesanya. And then he 10-8 Akhmedov in round 3. And then he won the Miranda 3rd round. He won the 3rd round the Miranda fight, so he did. And, you know, I think him slowing down, I'm not sure whether it's been over-exaggerated yet. I need to sort of figure that out, to be honest. Like, you know, he does slow down, but I don't know if it's enough to the point where it's going to alter the fight hugely. Yes, in a 5-round fight, he might give up 2 rounds against Joker. He might, probably. But in those 3 rounds, he's going to be winning the fight. Is Vittori. Because if you give me a fresh Marvin Vittori versus a fresh Joker, I'm going to go with Vittori all day long. But In a 5 round fight, it's more compelling. Now, if this was a 3 round fight, I would probably max bet Vittori. So I would, to be honest. But it's not. It's 5 round. So it's hard for me to come out and say that I am very confident in Vittori winning, but I am somewhat confident. It's just we have yet to see a part in his game, which is him going into the championship rounds and how his cardio is when he gets to that point. So interesting, so it is. But overall, I do like Marvin Vettori to win here. So I do. I don't think Joker takes him down, and if he does take him down, the get-up game of Marvin Vettori is second to none. So it is. As a wrestler himself, Vettori, Joker's not going to get him down. If he does, it's maybe off a kick or something. But even saying that, Vettori doesn't throw kicks really. He is boxing heavy guy. Maybe the one area of success for Hermansen is the, lead outside leg kick. So Joker is orthodox, Marvin Vettori southpaw. So Joker with his left leg slaps his his shin to the outside the leg of the southpaw fighter in Marvin Vettori, which can hamper the movement of Vittori because he's like heavy on his stance. And we've seen that in the Victor Miranda fight, or Vitor Miranda, should I say. I think he was going to the leg kicks in that one. He gave Vittori some problems, and Miranda is orthodox as well, so just an interesting wee angle there. But the small cage suits Vittori, so it does. And even Joker, I was listening to Joker's interview with, I think it was Ariel Helwani. He was saying that he prefers the big cage because he needs it to move about, because he's such a jab and move, stick and move type of fighter. Because his stand up, it isn't world class, it just isn't. But he is good at what he does, and he sticks and moves. He teeps, he leg kicks, and then he moves. He jabs, he moves. He throws a 1-2, he moves. He doesn't stay in the one spot because his cardio is very good. But will his cardio be the same if Marvin Vettori starts stuffing his takedowns? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But at the same time, Joker was using takedowns to initiate, double under clinch positions against Jacare. So he was actually using like a double leg takedown, even though he knew he wasn't gonna hit. He threw it anyway, so he shot it with the prospect of getting Jacare up against the cage, because Jacare was unwinning on the feet against him. So he shoots in a takedown, and then he transitions to clinch control and cage fight, or clinch up against the cage, just to get double underhooks, just to break up the stand-up, rhythm of Jacare and stuff. So he may do it here as well. But Marvin Vettori's a big boy, so he is, for middleweight. He used to fight at welterweight back in his younger days, but he's really, he's really worked his way into that frame of his. I just think Marvin Vettori is a star in the rise, and I do like his all-round game. It's a good style matchup for him, this one, against Joker. I just like him to win. I think the boxing, the pressure, and the wrestling defense will cause Joker some problems, and especially in the small cage. So that's the card in itself. So good luck with your bets. If you're interested in signing up, feel free to message me on Twitter. Yeah, and that's that. Maybe we'll see what happens. Sure, give me 10 likes. 10 likes would be good, and I'll get out the video for the card next week, the pay-per-view UFC 256. So until then, I'll see you later. Good luck.